This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 46 and 10, and it reads, declaring the end from the beginning and from ancient times, the things are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. Shalom. Giving all praise to the Most High Power of Israel, the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to the 12 tribes scattered. Just want to give double honors to all the mighty men, the elders, everyone teaching this truth in these latter days. And I just want to add on to my video from Thursday night. It's Friday now. And Shabbat Shalom. And we're just going to keep this going, until, as I've said in previous videos, until the elites unplug this internet, right? Or the Most High has something crazy happen to take this Jacob's trouble into his peak so we could get the hell out of here. I'm going to go into this precept quick fast. We're just coming off a crazy week in prophecy, right? We coming off a unbelievable week, man. How the Most High setting the way for his chosen people, right? You got this new war building up. And you just had breaking news. Or should I say, the damn devil that the Bible's speaking of, being the demon, the damn lieutenant governor of Texas, make a comment regarding God's chosen. Because they after us, family. These so-called white supremacists, man, they showing you they want us dead, man. So this ain't no time to be in their company, man. I'm gonna read what this Texas lieutenant governor. This going viral, by the way, all over social media right now. It says the Texas lieutenant governor blames unvaccinated blacks. Slocky, it reads, Texas lieutenant governor blamed unvaccinated black people for the Delta COVID virus spread. Right? And I'm going to leave that there. But that's from a Texas lieutenant governor. Let's get the classic in Ezekiel 35, man. Let's go. And this racist white supremacist. His name is I believe the lieutenant governor current. Let me get his name. It says Texas Lieutenant Governor. I'm just trying to get the name of this racist white monster, man. Because they show us the hatred, man. I'm going to read that again. I'm going to read from this quick article again. It says Texas Lieutenant Governor blames unvaccinated black people for the Delta COVID virus spread in his state. And I'm just looking at this short little sentence, man. He's not blaming no other nation of people but God's chosen people. And I just did a video yesterday where you had a European country go on a lockdown over the agenda, because I don't like using that, but because it came from a political source, I'm just making that general. I'll stick to the pimp and the harlot agenda, if you know what I mean, because I don't even like saying that. But you notice, that's why I say so often in my videos, the racism, the hatred that they have against people of color is just unbelievable. Yeah, the lieutenant governor of Texas, this racist, white supremacist, neo-Nazi, this monster, man, his name is Dan Patrick. I'm going to read his sentence one more time. Texas Lieutenant Governor blamed unvaccinated black people, so-called black, because there's that racist bias, that hatred. Because when they say black, they're referring you to a damn Crayola crown box, right? Says Texas Lieutenant Governor blames unvaccinated black people for the Delta COVID virus spread in his state. Unbelievable, man. Now let's go to, since that's the new thing right now, I'm going to go to what went out prior today through the world news today. And this is the nail on the coffin of how this crafty counsel towards God's chosen people. This is it in its strength. This was early. This was earlier today, and this was from a Jewish source called the Epoch Times, and it reads: Afghan evacuees that's dealing with this war. This war that's popping off. It says Afghan evacuees don't need the pimp and the harlot test. So I don't really like to use that on this platform. So they cut us off in a second. But all the people coming in from overseas, they exempt, period. And that's sad, man. How they infiltrate God's chosen people, but all the Ishmaelites, welcome aboard. No test needed, no pimping the harlot needed. You do whatever you want. Just come on home. You see that? Let's get that class in Ezekiel 35, and that's disgusting, man. But it's our people, man. 2 parts of our people to blame for this madness too, man, because they all along with it, man. And I'm gonna get into that later in this video, man. I'm going to get into that later, man, because this is war, man. This is warfare. This is warfare, man. And they trying to kill us, man. They literally trying to kill us, man. That's why we got to stand firm and thus said the Lord, man. We got to stand firm in the Most High and His law, statutes, and commandments, man. Let's read this, man. This is the book Ezekiel 35 and verse 5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, and Slakia, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Verse 6. Therefore, as I live, said the Lord God, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Sit thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Last one, verse 7. This is Ezekiel 35 and verse 7. Thus will I make Mount Seir, Esau, Edom, most desolate, and cut off from it him that passed out and him that returned. And we coming into this time now, where the Most High not just judging the nations, He chiefly coming down on Esau, Edom, these so-called white people, these so-called Europeans. In spite of all the news this week, this was an explosive week in news on all angles. In spite of the report earlier today, just welcoming everybody else from overseas, no pimping the harlot needed, no agenda required, all eyes on so-called people of color, chiefly the Hebrew Israelites, the awoke 12 tribes of the nation of Israel scattered worldwide. All eyes is on God's chosen people. And the so-called white man, they prove it every day. And, 2 parts of our people, man, they right along with this, man. Dealing with Jake, he already got the curses from Deuteronomy 15 through 68. We already under that in itself, right? That right there is already a nightmare, to try to manage. Then you got the wicked of our own, right? To try to reason with, while Esau, Edom trying to kill us all, we trying to kill us all. But we gonna deal with the chief enemy of our people. You know, I brought out some stuff with refugees coming on in they don't have to deal with the pimp and the harlot agenda, while the Texas Lieutenant Governor basically is pointing blame at God's chosen people. And it's just unfortunate, man, for when you look at this general picture, how no one, the so-called leaders of our people, man, why they not coming out? Why they not saying, you know, they're not making case to what's happening on a general scale. They're not. And it's just unfortunate, man. It's just sad. And, you know, it's heartbreaking, man. And if our people don't even give this thing a chance, coming into this truth, doing something different, because when you do our history, the marching has never gotten us anywhere, right? The Black Panther movement, you had all these movements with so-called people of color. You know, nothing has worked. The only brother, you know, that really tried to have us get out of this way, brother named Marcus Garvey. Of course, you guys know the history. He tried sending us at least back to the shores of Africa. Of course, we Hebrew Israelites, we don't really come. Our homeland is east of Africa, is Jerusalem. But even the brother Marcus Garvey tried, but you had these coon, wicked Negroes in suits come up against the brother, and he ended up getting deported. And it get worse and worse with Jake, how they lean on Egypt. They lean on the so-called white supremacists to help them, which makes absolutely no sense, man. And it's just not enough of us to really rise up. That's why the scriptures, I'm going to get to that classic precept in a minute. But dealing with the enemy right now, Esau, Edom, the white man, woman, and child, they're that wicked seed, and they just continue to show the world how wicked they are, man. How racist they are. I find that topic from that lieutenant governor from Texas to be extremely disturbing, because he didn't say nothing about the people overseas coming over here with no pimping agenda whatsoever. But Jake is the topic. Jake is to blame. And I guess he forgot, I'm going to bring this out, they forced us here, man. We get the curses, but it was so-called white people that put us on them, after Ham and all the other heathen nations jammed us up in, you know, coming from those parts of Africa to the shores and then shipped us here. First to those Spain yards, those slave yards in Spain, and then from Spain over here, of course. They brought us over here, and they've been killing us left and right, man. Making us the target, man. In spite of World War III basically popping off, we still the number one target. And so-called people of color, the 12 tribes, they just like blind to this, man. It pains me, man. That's why when the heathens come in our neighborhoods and set up shop, it's like stealing candy from a baby, man. It's easy, because when you're dealing with a group of people or a sheep of people that don't know who they are, it's real easy to jam them up. You notice, like the war situation with the refugees, who are predominantly the bulk of them is Ishmaelites. They all could just come here without a say in the world. But mind you, we've been getting 500 plus years of hardcore bondage. We at the end of this thing, thank God. These people make the case against us no matter what. The hell with the Taliban doing, target the nigga. Excuse my language. Because that's how that's what they see you as. I'm a so-called man of color. Target the so-called Negro, man. Target the so-called slave descendant. And that's off, man. That's off. That's wrong. And it's just not enough of us to really fight. That's why the remnant gonna get delivered. Right? Let's read that quick fast. Now, I had said that one too many times. Let's read. Let's go to the book of Zechariah 13:8 quick fast. Now I said that. I'm going to give them a precept for that one as well. We're going to read Zechariah 13:7, and I'm going to move down. Awake. This is Zechariah 13:7. Awake, O sword, against my shepherd, and against the man that is my fellow, said the Lord of hosts. Slakia. Smite the shepherd, and the sheep shall be scattered. And I will turn my hand upon the little ones. Verse 8. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, said the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. Verse 9. And I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, the Lord is my God. And that's dealing with this time we're living in right now, man. Coming into this final judgment, into the deliverance, by way of Hamashiach Yahushua, man, because we in desperate need for deliverance, man. These white supremacists, man, they can't sleep. They have to put their head on the bed, plotting on ways to kill us, man, and to blame us, to push draconian law. They don't stop, man. You would think after a week like this, they would consider the new enemy at hand that's basically sparking up this World War III. But in the midst of all that crazy week, they still plotting on the so-called people of color, the true Hebrew Israelites, the so-called Negro, Latino, Hispanic, Native, all those of the diaspora scattered worldwide. Their plot is to knock us out, man. Even in the midst of all that happened this week. Here you got these white supremacists. Man, look at their record. I'm always gonna bring this out. Their track record has been rape, robbery, murder, bloodshed. When they came into so-called America in the 16th century, they brought pork. They brought every manner of fable and devil worship. They brought in all types of Egypt type doctrines and customs. They brought in the ways of Babal. They brought in the teachings of Babylon, Nimrod. They brought every manner of Babylonian custom. When you go into the birthdays, the holidays, they brought in all types of pagan holidays. They brought all that to this land. And to this day, they push that on chiefly God's chosen people, but they push it on everybody. And for 500 plus years, 1492 to today, it's over 500 years, man. they still target us, man. I can't understand it on my life how they don't want us to leave, but the mission is to oppress. And in these days, this mission looking like to oppress and kill. That's the road this thing is going on, man. And it's horrific. You know, here they stole this land. They make genetically modified foods. Even if you go to a so-called Whole Food market, you know, these clean markets with alleged clean foods, you don't even know if that's clean. They caged us up, took off the chains, but you know they didn't send us to where we belong. That's for certain. They brought in these chemtrails. Prior to this thing overseas, they were taking all the opium from the opium fields, man. Bringing that to the States, drugging the people out. Getting caged up the damn animals, man. Right? Even the animals are sad. You got something called deforestation, man. They just keep chopping away, man. And, you know, it's just heartbreaking that you got two parts of our people, our so-called leaders, you know, Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, all these so-called, the Congressional Black Caucus, all these little sellout groups that's supposed to be for the people, these so-called mega church pastors. They don't have our interests at hand, man. They all in bed with the so-called white man, woman, and child, the nation of Edom, to keep us afflicted. Now, no one speaking up against this lieutenant governor except the Hebrew Israelites, because they're the only ones putting that article out there, man. And, you know, like I said, I will say it again and again. For the United States of America to call the real Hebrew Israelites, blood-born Hebrew Israelites, a terrorist group, is the ultimate blaspheme, it's mockery, and it's the ultimate show of hatred towards us. And they have the audacity to push a white Jesus. His name is Hamashiach Yahushai, but for edification's sake, they're going to push a white Jesus on the masses and slaughter us while they say God bless. Sing and dance every Sunday and pass a damn money bucket. And even in the midst of these times we in, still make us the target. You see that? And the Most High, you know, let's get a precept. Let's get in this crafty counsel, man. Let's talk about that a little bit, man. Because it's ridiculous, man. I mean, this hatred that they have for us, man, it's unbelievable, man. We're going to start at Psalms 83 and 2. I'm going to get straight to the point. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. Psalms 83 and verse 4. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. That's going into the fall and the scattering. That's the fall of 70 AD. That's when the so-called Negroes and all the other tribes out of ancient Jerusalem was ransacked by the Romans, right? This is Psalms 83, verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. Let's get into some of the names of the nations according to the Most High. The tabernacles of Edom, so-called white man, woman, and child. That's the nation of Edom. And the Ishmaelites, that's them Arabs. Of Moab, the Chinese man. Hagarenes, I believe those are Hamites. Cabal, Mohedans, Ammon. I believe Ammon goes into the Japanese. And Amalek. Amalek is the so-called Jewish people in the land. Because those are the ones that really control America, as I said in the recent video. Right? The Philistines, those Mohamites, with the inhabitants of Tyre. That's another, those are a list of some heathen nations. Let's go to the book of Joel. Let's go to the book of Joel 3 quick fast. Let's go to the book of Joel. This is Joel 3 and verse 1. For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, that's going into ending the punishment. Joel 3 and 2. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. And that's a key verse, man, because you got these peons out there. They always say that's a man's made religion. That's just another religion. I'm going to read it again from the top. Joel 3 and verse 2. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them for my people and for my heritage, Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. Right? Joel 3 and verse 3. And they have cast lots for my people and have given a boy for an harlot. Just dealing with the trading away with the slavery, you know, the exchanging for breaking up families and sending them everywhere. Right? I'm going to start that again from the top. Joel 3 and 3. They have cast lots for my people and have given a boy for a harlot and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. Joel 3 verse 4. Yeah, and what have ye do? Slacky. Yeah, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, Hamite nations, and all the coast of Palestine? Will you render me a recompense? And if you recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head. Verse 5. Because you have taken my silver and my gold, talking about the children of Israel, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. Verse 6. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem, northern and southern kingdom, have you sold unto the Grecians, the so-called white people, that you might remove them far from their border. Because remember, when the temple was ransacked in 70 AD, the people scattered worldwide. That's what happened. And this is always an issue for these so-called white supremacists that claim they the people. And when you go into the World War II history, we all know what happened regarding World War II. You could argue, but they say 6 million. We just take 6 million for argument's sake. It's 6 million so-called white people that was killed by Adolf Hitler versus billions upon billions of the true people of the Lord that were scattered and killed during the diaspora. Understand this. So-called Jewish people receive trillions of our tax dollars. They get reparations. And remember, what Hitler did them, no one's saying he didn't afflict them. He did. That happened. But Hitler was a so-called white man, and these so-called Jewish people, they all so-called white people. Understand, they got reparations for that, but in America, we were brought here slaves. You go into the history of the slave trade and who funded it, you know, we've never gotten any reparations. And I don't want no reparations with this agenda they pushing. You know, if you make the case, I mean, you got to go through the pimp and the harlot and all that other madness right now, while they continue to afflict us. That's why I say it's madness for them to call us a terrorist group or a hate group, while they afflict us and, you know, breaking the Texas Lieutenant Governor, spilling hatred towards the people of color, while you got none of people coming from a war-torn city where he ain't said nothing about that, but specifically said black people, so-called black people. And I'm supposed to be part of a hate group, and all the families teaching worldwide. You got Israelites, reports of Israelites are teaching on the corners worldwide now. We the hate group, though. That's why the Most High is judging this place, man. Let's go back to the book of Joel 3. We're going to read Joel 3 and 7. Behold, I will raise them out of the place where you have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. And this going into the kingdom. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabians, to a people far off, for the Lord has spoken it. See, what goes around, come around. This for you wicked, annoying white supremacists, man. So I find that comment from this lieutenant governor in Texas to be very offensive, man. It's just horrific how they expect us to try to reason with them and be with them while they plotting to straight devour you, man. Look at Gad, man. Look at the so-called Native Americans, man. And it's extra tough when you think about Gad. Gad was already here. Gad tried to make peace. You know what I'm saying? Gad tried to make peace with them. Gad wrote up treaties, and so-called Europeans, they violated all of them. We know the story with Gad. They put smallpox on their blankets. When you go into that ugly history, man, you know they almost exterminated Gad. Now, mind you, Gad did fight back. He had these sellout, wicked Negroes, man. You brothers and sisters, y'all know about the Buffalo Soldiers, man. Y'all know that sad story when you had wicked Jake line up with the so-called white man to finish Gad off, technically, man. Now you got Gad in these reservations, man. I saw a video. The brothers put out a video. And man, Gad live in such sad conditions, man. It's not even funny today. And like I said, the Most High gonna have to deal with wicked Jake, man. And I say Jake, I'm talking about the whole scattering of Jake, or the wicked Slakia, the wicked of our people, man. Because even prior to this explosive week of prophecy, man, in spite of the Most High fighting for his chosen people, you still have our people promoting the pimp and the harlot on TV. You got the plantation. That's the only question people want to ask. And if you say you didn't, you some bad person. And you could pull any translation of the scriptures in these latter days. You're not going to find that in the scriptures where you need the pimp and the harlot to heal you, man. If you know what I mean. You're not going to find that nowhere in the scriptures, man. But now they look at you like you're the bad guy. And the sad reality is, you know, I said this in the previous video, the Tuskegee experiment wasn't that long ago. And the same people pushing that agenda are the same ones doing it. The same ones that had to push that agenda then, where they damn near killed us in that time, they're doing it again. And if you have common sense, you would fight anyone that's threatening your livelihood over something that you know, at least current, it's not a law, it's not on the books, and it's an agenda. Chiefly you so-called people of color, 12 tribes of Israel, man. Y'all should be fighting that back without hesitation. But it's our people lined up with the enemy, just you know, trusting in Egypt, man. If you look at the world news, this place is finished, man. This whole thing is collapsing. The brother posted that the monetary fund been frozen with the incidents overseas. The inflationary measures is something we ain't seen in many, many years. I said in previous videos, the only way the elite can get out of this is an obvious war. Except this war that they want, it's not going to end in their favor. Right? Let's go to, let's get some more precepts. Let's go to the book of 1 Maccabees. Yeah, the Most High gonna deal with two parts of our people, man. He gonna deal with them, man. It's sad. It's sad, man. How I've yet to see a so-called leader come out against his lieutenant governor from Texas. Dan Patrick, whatever the hell his name is. These people hate us, man. And they fight. They're gonna be this way until Christ crack the skies open. Hamashiach Yahushai, crack the skies open with the chariots. They're going to keep showing their hatred. This is why we got to stop dealing with them. Let me read this. 1 Maccabees 3, Slakia. 1 Maccabees 3 and verse. Well, let's deal with their crafty counsel when we failed as a nation, and what they did with the words of the Most High, our heritage book. Let's go into how wicked they are and what they still do today. 1 Maccabees 3 and 48, and laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. That goes into Caesar Borgia's, of course. If you go to Netflix, there's something called the Borgias. You could probably catch that on a lot of shows out there now. There's little TV ads, and it give you the history. Cesare Borgia has come out of a damn crime family, man. We know that wicked history, man. He was a murderer. The dude had his own sister. He was big on the so-called, as you know today, Sodom and Gomorrah agenda. And they took his images, whitewashed. I always gonna bring it out. Whitewashed on iconoclasm. Put up white images of everything, from the saints, the Son of Man, the prophets. They did every manner of wickedness when they took this land. And got everyone believing in this whitewashed image, from God all the way down to the people, as being the people of God. And these are vicious murderers, man. And our people still cannot see the light of day. Two parts of our people. So I know our family and the truth. Y'all understand this, man. But two parts of our people in this world, man, they just not going to get it, man. Right? They're not going to get it, man. Let's read that again. It says, and laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. And all that went down during this Renaissance, man. Until this day, they still why they falling now? It's the Most High destroying this whole world now. They still try to show this white supremacy, man. They still push white supremacy even while the Most High is putting, he's basically destroying them, man. He's setting the stage to just take them down for good. But even while they fall as a nation of people, they going out swinging, man. And it's sad because why they collapsing, they still making Jake their target. And Jake just cannot see that. And it's just sad. Right? Let's go to the book of... Let's read the book of Daniel 7 and 9. Let's open the book of Daniel, chapter 7 and verse 9. This is going into the description of the Heavenly Father. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the ancients of days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. Let's get Hamashiach Yahawashi's description now. Let you know this whitewashing of who they call Zeus, them and these silly fables, it don't line up with the scriptures, man. And all our people need to do is read. Let's get the classic out of Revelations, man. Let's get straight to it, man. Because a lot of us, including myself, grew up in the Catholic Church, Southern Baptist, that umbrella of Catholicism. I remember as a child, we asked how God looked, or how Jesus would look, since they used to push that on us so much. And then say, oh, the book don't say it. Don't worry, that'll all be found out whenever he comes. You know, just go along with the program, right? Revelation chapter 1 and verse 13. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. Verse 14. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. That links up with Daniel's. And his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace. And his voice says, the sounds of many waters. So that don't link up with the madness that they got out here in Babylon the Great. You got a damn surf boy with a damn rags on. That don't even link up with the scriptures, man. But these are the same people that can consistently target people of color, like this low-life lieutenant governor in Texas now. You cannot make peace with them, man. Period. Let's get a classic precept right quick, man. This is what our people need to do. This is what our people need to do. And this is really dealing with Jake in the world. You know, I don't, most Hebrew Israelites know what it is when it comes to getting the hell away from the enemy, right? We're going to read the book of... We're going to read the book of 2 Corinthians 6, and we're going to start at verse 16, right? Actually, we're going to read 2 Corinthians chapter 6, and I'm going to start at verse 14, right? Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For fellowship had righteousness with unrighteousness, and what communion had light with darkness. Right? Verse 15. And what concord had Christ with Baal? That's another Babylonian, how do you say it? Some type of Babylonian god, something from the left hand side. Baal, right? Or what part had he had believed with an infidel? 2 Corinthians 6, verse 16. And what agreement had the temple of God with idols? As I said earlier in the video, America is heavy on Babylonian worship. They real good with this devil worship, idol worship, these Babylonian principles, right? Let me start that again. 2 Corinthians 6, verse 16. And what agreement had the temple of God with idols? For you are the temple of the living God. As God has said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will bear their God, and they shall be my people. Right? 2 Corinthians 6, verse 17. This is the classic. Wherefore come out from among them. Read that again. 2 Corinthians 6, 17. Wherefore come out from among them, and be ye separate, said the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you, verse 18, and will be a father unto you, and ye shall be my sons and daughters, said the Lord Almighty. Let's read that again, man. I'm going to read 2 Corinthians 6, 17 and 18 again. Wherefore come out from among them, and be ye separate, said the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you, and I will be a father unto you, and you shall be my sons and daughters, said the Lord Almighty. And that's twofold in these last days, man. A lot of us did right by abandoning the umbrella of Catholicism and coming into the truth, right? We did the right thing, but you got these sorcery groups in the community, these groups that promote the enemy gonna make it. These groups, especially for you newcomers in the truth, man, be careful of people teaching you a fable, man. Because you got groups out there, man. You got a lot of groups out there that teach the oppressors going to get the same salvation as the Hebrew Israelites, and that's furthest from the truth, man. And if you caught up in these groups, you have to get out. You got a lot of groups out there that's just teaching these fables to keep you from getting to your salvation, man. And you got to come out these groups, man. I said in my opening video, my very first video, I'm against any so-called Israelite group that teach the so-called white man, woman, and child gonna get salvation, or any group that promotes heathens gonna have the same wealth as an Israelite, and we're gonna be equal in the kingdom. That's furthest from the truth, man. And if you're among these groups, I advise to get out and just study harder and further the research. Let's get a precept to support my argument. They think sweet Jesus gonna bring everybody together, right? That's what they believe. You know, sweet Jesus is gonna be nice and sweet to everybody. You know? That's furthest from the truth, man. One moment. We read now the book of Luke 12 and verse 51. And it reads, suppose ye that I am come to give peace on earth? I tell you nay, but rather division. Let's read that again. Suppose ye that I am come to give peace on earth? I tell you nay, but rather division. And that's a cut on these groups. I could jam up. I could attack the Catholicism umbrella all night, man. But when you got this going on in the Israelite community, this is a little bit more important, man. These Christianity Israelite groups, man. This madness gonna stop on the day of the Lord. You believe that, man? That was a precept from Luke. I'm gonna read something in the book of Matthew regarding the sword, man. Since y'all think sweet Jesus is gonna be nice and sweet when he hit the scene, man, and that's furthest from the truth. The Most High tell us in Exodus 15 and 3 that the Most High the Lord is a man of war, man. He's a man of war. He ain't some surf boy with damn homeless rags on that got goddamn flowers and teddy bears around him like some type of broke episode from Sesame Street or something, man. That's not the Son of Man. That's the fable that we've been taught. A damn bum in rags that looked like a cop that gave me a ticket some time ago. That looked like a so-called white supremacists. And these white supremacists ain't so-called. They just that. Especially with this unfortunate news regarding this lieutenant governor from Texas that just they prove who they are every day, man. Right? Let's read the book of Matthew chapter 10 and verse 34, the classic. This is Matthew 10 verse 34. Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I am come not to send peace, but a sword. I'm going to read that again for all these groups teaching that, it's going to be good. It's not going to be good, man. It's like it. Matthew 10 and verse 34. Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. Right? So, all these groups teaching that, man, there's going to be a special judgment day for these groups, man. Because the Most High not dealing with that, man. All right? He's not dealing with that. And if we don't get from among these certain groups, it's not going to end well, man. We see the judgments happening all the time, family. This thing is happening more and more. Especially coming off a week like this week. You have to brace yourself for harsher judgments from our Heavenly Father, man. We coming into a potential season where this whole banking system may just collapse out of nowhere. I said in the previous video, the Most High gonna do something to really bring the hurt to this country, man. That's gonna put Jacob's trouble in his peak, man. That's what's gonna happen. And this is what our people need to do, Slakia. Especially you newcomers in this truth, man. There's nothing wrong learning from social media. There's nothing wrong learning from the camps. I'm pro camp, and I salute those brothers because they do such a dangerous thing, making their lives a sacrifice in the midst of all them spirits out there teaching this truth, because that's a dangerous thing. But that's the end all be all trying to get this kingdom, man. And you got to sue every last one of the camps, man. You know, because that's a dangerous thing to do. But for you newcomers, man, let's read the classic in Matthew 7 and verse 13. And it reads, "Enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that lead to destruction. And many there be which go in thereat." Verse 14, "Because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which lead into life, and few there be that find it." Right? That's a classic, one of the most classic lines, man. This entry into Zion is gonna be a nail-biting entry, man. Right? I'm gonna read it again. Matthew chapter 7 and verse 13. "Enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which lead into life, and few there be that find it." So a lot of people not gonna really get in, because when you got these congregations out here, and I'm talking about in Israel, you know, you got congregations that's really against all the camps. You got families in the social media arena, generally saying. You got families that fight the camps tooth and nail. Yeah, you got this one family, they teach against the white man, but in the same sentence, they believe they're gonna make it. You know, you do a damn 4-hour long video banging on camps and say, teach Elohim, but hate all the camps. Yo, whose side you on, man? Like I said in my very first video, I called out a lot of these groups. And you got to be careful with these groups, man. I'd rather see you deal with any of those camps out there and deal with the straight up hardcore doctrine that Christ is only coming for his own, and not this watered down, like I saw in a video recently, you know, Christianity 2.0, where you trying to teach the truth, right? But you're trying to bring in all the heathens too, man. And that's off, man. Because if you're caught in these groups in these latter days, especially when this Jacob's trouble hit its peak, when it reaches its peak in its highest form, man, the Most High ain't got no protection for you because you believe these lies, man. Let's get the classic right quick. Let's deal with that a little bit more. Let me get another precept. Let's try the book of Maccabees again. First Maccabees. One. Let's do a little more history of these so-called white people. First Maccabees 1:1, and it happened after Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece. We're going to jump to First Maccabees 1 and verse 4. "And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him." This is dealing with the Greece Empire, right? This is First Maccabees 1 and verse 7. "So Alexander reigned 12 years and he died." And this is a little short history. I'm going to jump down to 11. First Maccabees 1 and verse 11. This is the history of these so-called white people in the ancient time. First Maccabees 1:11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us, for since we departed from them, we've had much sorrow. Right? And that's dealing with these wicked jakes you see promoting the pimp and the harlot in the midst of World War III. You know what I'm saying? Instead of them at least considering, they just side with Massa. Because they trash when the smoke clear. And that strength that they once had, they've lost that. Let me read that again. First Maccabees 1:11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us, for since we departed from them, we have had such sorrow. Verse 12, so this device pleased them well. And even in these times, man, you think our so-called leaders would say something? The only leaders are the voices coming out the Israelite community, man. Chiefly from the camps, man. And that's all, man. And we just, like I said, in this time we in, at judgment, we got to hold on tight and keep the Most High's commandments, man. That's it, man. That's it. There's nothing else, man. Keep these commandments and live, or else. You know what I'm saying? Because this thing is getting worse and worse and fast, right? Let's get some more precepts. I ain't gonna be too much longer. I don't like making long videos. Let's open the book of Romans 9:6. Not as though the word of God had taken none effect, for they are not all Israel which are of Israel. And that's dealing with Israelites that know they're Israel, but that's going to come up against this truth. So one thing, I'm going into 6 years almost in this truth, and you see so much contention within the Israelite community. That's how you know without a shadow of doubt that the true people dwell in this community, man. It's a lot of contention and strife in the Israelite community, man. And although you got people that teach, you know, the Most High going to show who's who on the judgment day, man. Those on the right-hand side and those on the left-hand side, right? Read that again. Romans 9 and verse 6. Not as though the word of God had taken none effect, for they are not all Israel which are of Israel. That's dealing with this community. And the hell with the damn Sunday church and that foolishness. We got trouble right now in community in these times of war. You got to choose wisely, man. When you're in this truth, you know, you got to find a congregation that you're comfortable with, and you just got to go forward, man. You got to go forward in this thing. Don't give in to something that I see. It's in social media, and it's, you know, I won't make it a buck. You see it in camps too, man. This whole man worship spirit, man. I'm against that. You know, my elder, the mighty brother from HOI, Elder Zabak, he didn't have that spirit. You know, shout out to HOI again. The brother had a very humble spirit. And, you know, you want to be around people that have at least a humble spirit. You know, my new elders at the House of David, these are humble brothers. They're not telling us to go around making fun of other brothers and, you know, stuff you see in the community, man. They don't give these orders. And, you know, you got to find a humbling spirit in this truth for all you newcomers, man. You got to be humble in the spirit, man. And, you know, I always bring this out. At the endings of my videos, you gotta love each other, man. And that's one of the greatest stumbling blocks in the Israelite community. I ran into brothers hating on one another in these videos year one, damn near enter into year 6, and you still see the same trend. You want to get into the kingdom of heaven, aka Zion, you're not getting in when you got a reputation of hatred and slander on entire communities year after year after year like a broken record, and then teach you chosen. That's not going to get you in. That's going to get you. You'll get in. It'll be on the left hand side. It ain't gonna be with the prophets. But I'm not gonna get too heavy on that. Let's go into a couple of more precepts before I shut this down. Actually, I said that. One moment. Let's get this book. Let's try Exodus. Let me see. One moment. Exodus 2. Well, why not? I've been jamming up sellout Jakes in the world and even in this community. Let's talk about how some of our people are, man. This is the book of Exodus chapter 2 and verse 11. Exodus 2 and 11 reads, "And it came to pass in those days when Moses was grown," is dealing with the old Egypt, "that he went out unto his brethren and looked on their burdens, and he spied on an Egyptian, a Hamite, smiting a Hebrew, one of his own brethren." Verse 12, "And he looked this way and looked that way, and he saw there was no man, and he slew the Egyptian." He killed the Hamite and hid him in the sand, right? Let's go to verse 14. Let's show you how wicked Jake is, man. Even in his truth, man. Second Exodus 2 and verse 14. "And he said, Who made thee a prince and a judge over us?" And these were Israelites, man, under Egyptian custom. From the top, Exodus 2 and 14. "And he said, Who made thee a prince and a judge over us? Intendest thou to kill me as thou killest the Egyptian? And Moses feared and said, Surely this thing is known." Verse 15, I'm on there with this one. Now when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses, but Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian, and he sat down by a well. Here, Moses slayed a filthy Hamite, man. Y'all know how I feel about them. I can't stand the nasty Hamites. Here Moses bodied them, right? Then you get wicked Jake, went back and snitched, man. And we know that's going to happen more and more in these last days. Oh, he wore his borders and blues and fringes. He one of them. Because you got scenarios already playing out where people have lost absolutely everything. During the initial lockdown, people were going homeless because they couldn't get no aid. They couldn't get no type of, they couldn't get no PPI. They couldn't get no insurance. A lot of people fell homeless during just that period. And now you got news going viral that, the pimp and the harlot tried making the case in the courtrooms to extend, and now the court is shutting that down, man. And we at the end of August. If you didn't know, unemployment insurance is due to shut down at the end of this month. Do you know how bad it's going to get now? Everybody don't have a job. And these times are hard, and now they're about to basically make people homeless. And God only knows what these concentration camps out there, if you know what I mean. Because it's not you just being thrown out with this agenda. People going to be getting jammed up fast, man. That's the time we in. So it's getting, this Jacob's Trouble thing, man, is heating up. It's heating up, man. This thing is heating up. It's getting worse and worse, man. And if you in this truth, if you sincere, you want to get rooted in, just do right by keeping these commandments. And like I was saying earlier, man, just try to find humble leaders, man. Don't get involved with no leader that's gonna get you in a position that's gonna ultimately get you jammed up. Straight up, man. If your so-called elder teaching Esau, Edom gonna get salvation, get out. If your so-called elder, teaching you to make mockery videos of other brothers as a way of, bettering yourself, slandering brothers, get out of there. If you got elders teaching contrary to the scriptures, get the hell out. You know what? Let's read Isaiah 28:10, man. Because this is something that's been brewing in Israel too, man. And this is off. Why are brothers teaching contrary to the scriptures? I'm going to tell you why. The Most High is showing you who they really are, man. It is what it is, man. And I'm keeping that general. If you got people in this community reading what the scriptures say, thus said the Lord, and telling you it's something different, man, get the hell out of there, man. And that's general. We're going to start at Isaiah 28:9. Con? Whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. Isaiah 28:10. For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little. I'm going to read that again. Isaiah 28:10. For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little. And when you come into this truth, and it's chiefly for you newcomers, man. When you come into this truth, you have to be as a child, man. You got to be as a little child, humble and just being taught the right way. Line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little and there a little, right? You get Matthew's, I got to get a precept. Because brothers is going off, man. Let me get this, John 7:38. That's what I want. Let me link that up, man. I'm telling anyone that's in the truth, 2 years or longer, or 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, man, if your so-called teacher is teaching contrary to the book, it's time to get out of there, man. That's John, I'm sorry. I'm in Matthew, jeez. One moment. It's John. This is the book of John, chapter 7 and verse 38. He that believeth on me, as the scriptures had said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. I'm going to read that again from the top. John 7 and verse 38. He that believeth on me, as the scriptures had said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. Verse 39. But this spake he of the Spirit, which that they that believe on him should receive, for the Holy Ghost was not yet given, because that Jesus, Hamashiach Yahushua, was not yet glorified. Right? I'm not going to get on this platform and tell brothers in this truth to read the scriptures and didn't teach contrary to it. That's a no-no. I'm not going to get too deep in that, but that's going on. And if your so-called elder is teaching contrary to what thus said the Lord, it's time to take a hike and find another family, man. Because you got a lot of sorcery in Israel, man. And if your leaders is promoting stuff like that, why are you even in the midst? And it's heartbreaking, you know. The book say the simple believed everything, man. And you got a lot of simple people in here, man. So you got to find humble brothers, man. That's not going to misguide you, man. Understanding, teach their understanding according to thus said the Lord, and just do your best. That's all I'm saying. But don't have a brother give you a breakdown and then say something completely different. That's a no-no, man. And it's not going to end well for, we know the ending on false teachers, man. That's not going to end too good, man. There's a, judgment for the wicked of our people, man. Yeah, you get a rebirth. Yeah, but it's going to be with the saints, it's going to be on the left-hand side. That's always a question. I was taught that by my elders most recently, man. You get your rebirth, but you don't want it to be on the left-hand side. Get ready to wind down. Let's go to the book of Daniel 12:2, man. Don't ever let nobody mislead you in this truth, man. This is really, the Most High want us to gather, keep the brotherhood, but it's individual in a sense. In the Christianity church, we say you have a personal relationship with God. To a degree that applies and is true by keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments with good hopes. You're humble and you enter into the gates, man. And that's individual, right? This is the book of Daniel, chapter 12 and verse 2. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. I don't know why I'm hearing brothers, almost 6 years in this truth, saying everlasting means a long time. That's furthest from the truth. Everlasting is what it says it is. Everlasting. I'll read it again. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. So you better be on point when you come into this arena, man. Right? Let's get the classic and Revelations 20 and 10. See if we run into our favorite little word, everlasting, or something close to it, right? Salakia. Here we go. This is the book of Revelation chapter 20 and verse 10. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are. And this false prophet, I'm talking about in the Israelite community. The hell with the Catholic side, we know they've finished. Let me start that again. Revelation 20 and verse 10. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. That says forever and ever, family. Revelation 20:11. And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and the heaven fled away, and there was found no place for them. I'm going to read that again. Revelation 20:11. And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and the heaven fled away. That's dealing with this current world that's about to be destroyed. And there was no place found for them. Repeat. And there was no place found. Slakia. And there was found no place for them. Slakia. Revelations 20 and 12. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God. And the books were open. And another book was open, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books according to their works. This is going into the final judgment. And I'm 100% for regeneration, Regeneration is throughout the Bible, but this is coming into judgment, right? Revelation 20:13. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them, and they were judged every man according to their works. This is final judgment. That's what this is going into, man. Revelation 20:13, again from the top. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them, and there were judged every man according to their works. Man and woman, by the way. According to their works. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. That's them ICBMs, right? Revelations 20 and verse 15. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. Right? That's judgment, man. That's coming into final judgment, because we know the ancient world, you know, when you study Genesis, the 6th chapter, 5 and 6, I believe 7, the sons of God went off because, you know, they integrated. They went against their creator, man. And what do we do in 2021? We integrate with the heathen. And the Most High not dealing with that. So the ancient world flooded away. It was destroyed by water. But this world gonna burn, man. You know? That's this coming judgment. I'm gonna read this one more time. Revelation 20 and 15. Whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast in the lake of fire. Right? This is judgment. Now, I know that could be a debate, you know. You hear so often the lake of fire, it's only the destruction. But is there a fire that doesn't, is there a fire that doesn't quench according to the scriptures? There's a question mark, you know. Is there, because I've listened to mighty brothers teach, you know, there's no such thing as hell in the scriptures. The question to be asking is true. Are there accounts of a fire that don't quench, right? That's one of those questions, you know. Is there accounts that make sense regarding that? Or is that some Christianity fable that we all been taught? Because, you know, I'm going to bring this out and I'm going to end this video. So this video is way beyond my time. We always use the Sarah Connor scene from Terminator 2. We all saw the bomb hit. You saw the Edomite woman just burn up on the fence, right? We've seen, we bring that out. I know I bring that out often at camp video, when I'm in camp. It's like, yeah. But when you go into the opening scene of Terminator 2, aren't they not fighting the machines in that video or in that movie? There's no fire burning when Terminator 2 started. So I want you brothers to think about that. When the Terminator 2 video, it's like I keep saying video, when that movie starts, they're fighting the machines, man. And there's no fire. That's after the bombs. That's after the ICBMs, when you really check that out. When it starts, that film, they're fighting the machines and there's no more fire. So you gotta second, when brothers, and it's a general disclaimer: study the scriptures. Don't say, oh, it was Brother Yawasop that said, his doctrine is the truth. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just telling everyone that's listening right now to study and check out the setup when you look at how the Star of Terminator 2 really is. There's no fire. They're fighting machines. And the dream was like in the middle of that film, Easter egg for y'all that never seen it. That was the destruction. But when the movie started, they were fighting the machines and there was no more fire. But you did see the city desolate. It's after the bombs hit, right? Let's read the book of Matthew 8 and 12. But the children of the kingdom shall be cast out into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Read that again. Matthew 8 and 12. But the children of the kingdom, that's dealing with wicked Israelites, by the way. But the children of the kingdom shall be cast out into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of the teeth. That's one account on outer darkness. Matthew 22 and 13. Then said the king to the servants, Lakia, bind him hand and foot and take him away and cast him into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Matthew 25 and 30. Cast ye out, Slakia. Matthew 25:30. And cast ye the unprofitable servant into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Right? I'm almost done. There's a very important account, I believe it's in Mark, to, make case to what I'm trying to show you guys. One moment. It's good to have the notes close by, right? One moment, gang. I'm almost done. Because that's just something brothers and sisters got to think about. So I get these accounts, man. I'm going to shut it down because I probably my longest video. But I want to bring that out. It's just something, when you come into this truth, you have to consider, what the Most High is telling us. You know what I'm saying? One moment, guys. Let me try Mark 9. Sorry for the delay. Let me see. Oh, here it is. And I'm going to have to wind it down. It's kind of a long video, right? Slakia. I'm going to read from the book of Mark 9. And I'm going to start at 42. I'm going to read this. I'm going to try to read this as fast. But I want y'all to consider what I just brought out regarding final judgment. Right? Mark 9 verse. Wow, you know what? We're going to read Mark 9 starting at 41. For whosoever shall give up a cup of water to drink in my name, because you belong to Christ, verily I say unto you, he shall not lose his reward. Verse 42. This is Mark 9 and 42. Whosoever shall offend one of these little ones that believe in me, it is better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck and he were cast into the sea. Verse 43. And if thy hand, this is big, Mark 9:43, and if thy hand offend thee, cut it off. It is better for thee to enter into life maimed than having two hands to go into hell, into the fire. Key word, watch this. Into the fire that never shall be quenched. Read that again. Mark 9:43. And if thy hand offend thee, cut it off. It is better for thee to enter into life maimed than having two hands go into hell, into the fire that never shall be quenched. Again, into the fire that never shall be quenched. That says never, family. Verse 44. Where the warm diet not, and the fire is not quenched. I'm going to read it again. Mark 9:44. Where the warm diet not, and the fire is not quenched. And the fire is not quenched. That was Mark 9:44. We're going to go to Mark 9:45. And if thy foot offend thee, cut it off. It is better for thee to enter halt into life than having 2 feet to be cast into hell, into the fire that never shall be quenched again. Let me read that from the top. Mark 9:45. And if thy foot offend thee, cut it off. It is better for thee to enter halt into life than having 2 feet to be cast into hell, in the fire that never shall be quenched. Into the fire that never shall be quenched. Pay close attention, family. Verse 46, Mark 9:46. Where the worm died not, and the fire is not quenched. I'm going to read that again. Mark 9:46. Where the worm died not, and the fire is not quenched. Right? One more time. Mark 9:46. Where the worm died not, and the fire is not quenched. I'm just saying, family, study on your own. Don't take it from your outside. I'm just telling you to study. That's all I'm saying. We're going to go to 47. I'm going to try to just finish it off. Mark 9:47. And if thine eye offend thee, pluck it out. It is better for thee to enter into the kingdom of God with one eye than having 2 eyes to be cast into hell fire, where the worm died not, and the fire is not quenched again. Family, it's going somewhere. For everyone, Mark 9:49, for everyone shall be salted with fire, and every sacrifice shall be salted with salt. Salt is good, but if the salt have lost its saltness, where did you season it? Have you salt yourselves and have peace with one another. All I'm saying is for you guys to study. Study the scriptures. Study the Most High's words. That's all I'm saying. I'm going to use the Terminator 2 dream sequence versus the Terminator 2 opening. In the opening, wasn't they not fighting the machines and the bomb already hit? And the land was desolate, right? But when you read Mark 9, I'd say 9, Mark 9:41 through 50. Is that really talking about a ICBM? Or is that talking about another place? Now, of course, I pulled the accounts from those 3 accounts regarding outer darkness. Is there And all I'm telling the family to do is don't take it on my account. Yeah, I read previously Matthew 8 and 12, Matthew 22:13, Matthew 25 and 30. What is that talking about? That couldn't possibly be no ICBM destruction. It don't make sense. And I challenge you guys to just study, man. Don't let some, like I said, I love my camps. I love the teachings. I don't see no harm learning precepts and writing notes from camps. Nothing wrong with that. But when you're really trying to get this thing, man, you got to study on your own, man. That's all I'm saying. Because that whole, and I've seen debates on that thing, man. I ain't telling my family online to go back to Sunday church. Hell no. But the fire that never quenches, man, that's recorded. That's all I'm saying. It's recorded. It's in the scriptures. That's all I'm saying. It's there. That's all I'm saying. And all I'm saying is study. I ain't targeting no group, no members of social media. It's general. All I'm telling you guys, because I love you guys, is to study. Study this word. That's all I'm saying. But that fire that never quenches, why is that recorded there? And why are those 3 accounts in Outer Darkness really there? You have the Terminator 2 opening versus the machines versus the dream sequence with the ICBM. Meanwhile, Mark 9 tells you something that never quenches. I see something else there, family, but I'm going to close out. Let's go to, I always close out with us. Gotta show that love and compassion to one another, Let's go to John. 1 John. I'm going to always do this because I want us to get out the spirit of always attacking each other, man. That's so annoying in Israel. 1 John. 1 John 5 and 3 reads, "For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous." Keep the commandments, right? We got to keep doing that in these times of Jacob's trouble, no matter what. Let's jump down to 1 John 9. 1 John 5 and 9. "If we receive the witness of men, the witness of God is greater, for this is the witness of God, which he had testified of his Son." 1 John 5:10. "He that believed on the Son of God had witness in himself. He that believed not God had made him a liar, because he believed not the record that God gave of his Son." Verse 11, "And this is the record that God had given to us eternal life, and this life is in his Son." 1 John 5:12, "He that had the Son had life, and he that had not the Son of God had not life." So in other words, if you don't believe in Hamashiach Yahushai, you're going to be in a lot of trouble on the judgment day, right? Last one, guys. Let's go to John. This is a long video. I don't like doing long videos. I don't want you guys to get bored. John 13. We're going to read the book of John 13 and 34. I'm going to close out with 34, 35. John 13 and 34. "A new commandment I give unto you, that you love one another as I love you, that you also love one another." 35. "By this shall all men know that you are my disciples, if you have love one to another." Love one another, Israel. Cut out the slandering, the mockery, the attacking. Grow in the spirit of Hamashiach Yahushai in Christ. And with that, I'm going to give all praise to the Most High Power of Israel, the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Double honors to all the mighty men doing this work, pushing this truth. And with that, Shalom.